Being declassified from the human race and then brought down to a lower race that symbolized color. When we talk black, white, mulatto, he did not want us to be classified in these racial categories, but to be elevated back to the human race, where there was only one race, and that was called human. As he said in his famous speech, the Negro finds himself a slave in his own land. That means that, we have been consistently and constantly fighting, whether it be from Frederick Douglass, his writings, whether it be from W.E.B. Du Bois, his writings, John Henry Clark on the African writings, Drew Ali, speaking about the Moorish history here in the United States of America, and being declassified from the human race and then brought down to a lower race that symbolized color. When we talk black, white, mulatto, he did not want us to be classified in these racial categories, but to be elevated back to the human race, where there was only one race, and that was called human. As he said in his famous speech, the Negro finds himself a slave in his own land. That means that, we have been consistently and constantly fighting, whether it be from Frederick Douglass, his writings, whether it be from W.E.B. Du Bois, his writings, John Henry Clark on the African writings, Drew Ali, speaking about the Moorish history here in the United States of America. These things that were talked about were just reminders of who we were in the past and what our fight has been in this country. We did not want to be called Negro. We did not want to be called a color.
Tell everyone about Drew Ali. 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 Tell everyone. Let the world know Drew Ali came. Brought a flag, religion, and free national name. Brought an ID card, don't flash at the hybrid. Learn about the righteous and when we were the pirates. Ancestral creed, clandestine heed. Warnings of the prophet, they can't intercede. Canaanite, Hittite, Amorite brethren. Need a new homes to Atlantis direction. North, south, and central. Flag continental. Tell everyone about Drew Ali. 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 Tell everyone. Let the world know Drew Ali came. Brought a flag, religion, and free national name. Brought an ID card, don't flash at the hybrid. Learn about the righteous and when we were the pirates. Ancestral creed, clandestine heed. Warnings of the prophet, they can't intercede. Canaanite, Hittite, Amorite brethren. Need a new homes to Atlantis direction. North, south, and central. Flag continental. Founder and uniting of the Moorish holy temple of science. Nationality is alliance. Always in defiance of their worship compliance. Active, not passive. Estate is massive. Use the compass, draw circles around your passions. Carpenter's tool in the mind workshop. Corsica bandana, covered eyes in bird box. Return to ancestors' mind. Descendants of ancients. Forget the mundane. Knowledge attainments guided by the principles, our own laws and customs. If they teach but don't bring up Drew Ali, don't trust them. Tell everyone about True Ali. 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 Tell everyone. Tell everyone about True Ali. 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 Tell everyone.
I told a Filipino woman about Julie. We got more into the pedigree. She said she more. I said that meant more to me. Couldn't have this conversation a few years back when I was a few years black. 2,000 years I cried in tears, but I'm back. Still here, thought manifested from a higher tier. I appear spirit and flesh with divine warnings. Choose life or death. I heard my mother utter to the Negro, black or color, African American, and that's another. Moors, be yourself, no other. You're the last puzzle in place, now move others. Hatred, slander, lewdness, murders. The pleasure of the lower, rich in promise, so you can't prevent effects from causes. So a seed planted, so a seed groweth. Deep in the soil, with love, truth, peace, freedom and justice. Born on a Friday, I put that on Venus. Creative faith, Allah, use a genius. You sent your last prophet to uplift me, so I gotta tell everybody. Tell everyone about you, Ali. 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 Tell everyone. Tell everyone about you, Ali. 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 Tell everyone. Northgate. H2O flow. Sheik, Canaanland, Moorish. When these fall. Shalom Davis. Salute. Hot house. Check it. They say they wanna learn, they only debate. Referencing the truth, trust me, they only sounded great. Study nationality before you question my estate. I'm not a minority, why you so late? Majority rules, here comes the test. Fact, that's my hand in the form of a V on the chest. That's a boom that is blessed like a moon and a crest. Major forever, infinite mindset. Major from birth, that's a seed in process. I'm a more that is easy to digest. Competent, never terrenalious. That is my lap, never vacant. Sacred traditions, petitions for what you're not Jamaican. Westmoreland to Portmore, everybody needs more. Refuel, please more. Northgate. H2O flow. Sheik, Canaanland, Moorish. When these fall. Shalom Davis. Salute. Hot house. Check it. They say they wanna learn, they only debate. Referencing the truth, trust me, they only sounded great. Study nationality before you question my estate. I'm not a minority, why you so late? Majority rules, here comes the test. Fact, that's my hand in the form of a V on the chest. That's a boom that is blessed like a moon and a crest. Major forever, infinite mindset. Major from birth, that's a seed in process. I'm a more that is easy to digest. Competent, never terrenalious. That is my lap, never vacant. Sacred traditions, petitions for what you're not Jamaican. Westmoreland to Portmore, everybody needs more. Refuel, please more. Following the apostles, we should read more. I see the unseen more, we more. That's a fact. Canaanland.
They say they want to learn, complain classes are too long. Don't want it on a phone call, energy too strong. Get it from the wrong source, now they way off course. Think they must be Muslim and give up on all sports. Should give up the red meat, must give up on all porks. Won't be yelling harder when the bottles are uncorked. Eating with the spoon, use forks for tuning. Eating humble pie, no ego ballooning. Samson 2 caterpillars, got 'em cocooning. As the full moon hung, spiral energy moving. Up through the crown chakra, energy shooting. And told me upload classes before live YouTubing. 16,000 subscribers, 20% consuming. 80% troll pretending to be tuned in. comment on every video, pushing the thumbs down. We'll push the link when we live just like a clown. Pouring in the incompetence, always debating. Dissing Drew Ali but won't give the location. His image on the black banner, that's placation. Just get him out of here, Yusuf yells in frustration. We know they're playing games, we're not berating. Calling 911 scimitars penetrating. In defense of prophets and mothers abused. And newly awakened Moors, amused and confused.
Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense with
Legendary, bury me in the North Gates Cemetery, February the 4th days. Son of Mary, day ahead of my born day. Independence and law makes it a little of a lost case. With case laws, we break them down like Jericho, keeping all my lions tame.
Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense with
Legendary, bury me in the North Gates Cemetery, February the 4th days. Son of Mary, day ahead of my born day. Independence and law makes it a little of a lost case. With case laws, we break them down like Jericho, keeping all my lions tamed. I'm Chris Jericho. I'll keep a mask on deck, I'm Rey Mysterio. Fake pandemics announced over the radio. Annoyed with the game, the joys and the pains. I'm rock bass mixing with rock the hard way. I was in a lost state. Prophets told me up right, brought me to a lost gate. Cooking like I'm sorbet, repping like I'm Denzel. Malcolm X, Deja Vu, Roman J. Israel. And no but I lay in plain sight. But people still can't see it, so the snake's still showing up. Stakes still high, so the race still going up. Warriors are...
Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense with
Legendary, bury me in the North Gates Cemetery, February the 4th days. Son of Mary, day ahead of my born day. Independence and law makes it a little of a lost case. With case laws, we break them down like Jericho, keeping all my lions tamed. I'm Chris Jericho. I'll keep a mask on deck, I'm Rey Mysterio. Fake pandemics announced over the radio. Annoyed with the game, the joys and the pains. I'm rock bass mixing with rock the hard way. I was in a lost state. Prophets told me up right, brought me to a lost gate. Cooking like I'm sorbet, repping like I'm Denzel. Malcolm X, Deja Vu, Roman J. Israel. And no but I lay in plain sight. But people still can't see it, so the snake's still showing up. Stakes still high, so the race still going up. Warriors of the North Gate, we not slowing up. Born in the manger, sworn to be savior. Walk through the valley of the shadows of the death of his slavery. Looking for light, the book of Genesis. Astral plane entrances, invoke the nemesis. Abstract images of past lives kicking in. Danger, running for your life, finish him.
Moorish key man or oracle. Using Trinity powers, decipher allegorical. Lost and metaphorical, holy books are metaphysic. Facts like a dirty Moor or a Drew Ali critic. Calling him Thomas or Walter and get your face caved. Or cut like a close shave. Drowned in my brainwaves, squashed by heat waves. Activating Kundalini. Abyssinia invaded by Mussolini. Selassie I in exile. Reptile in Genesis, niggas appearing real. All I see is false evidence. They are feminists, stomped on by elephants. Won't like no prejudice, but want Moorish benefits. When you feel the magnetic resonance. Apis horns of the sacred book, all maleficent. Great cosmic mothers, return to blessedness. No pestilence, ace all the testaments. Tap into remembrance, never to forget again. Use energy right, not put spell effects on men. Wandering the earth plane with no veil of shades. Keeps you a mental slave as the horizon fades. It's been decades since Christian crusades. Not enough rebellions, too many vigil bouquets. Holding on to the fence, burning on doomsday. War ruled by Mars, it might be on a Tuesday.
Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick. What we do here is we add some common sense thinking to everyday situations or comments that may arise. Want to give it a try?
The definition of hypocrisy: the practice of claiming to have moral standards or beliefs to which one's own behavior does not conform. So basically it means talking the talk, but not walking the walk. So by this definition, Rami Salam El is a hypocrite.
And not only Rami Salam El, those elders from the Moorish Science Temple of America, they're hypocrites. Everybody who listened to the news, everybody, any of you people who listen to the news about Rise of the Moors, you're a hypocrite. And then they're probably going to block this IG and then complain that we're bullying people. Don't complain when Moors are kicking your ass with facts, because we walk the walk. We walk the walk. Moors, true Moors, Moors who you should be listening to, who you should have been listening to for the past 100 years with regard to Moorish anything. We're supposed to be the ones who walk the walk. Honors to all the Moors near Canaanland that walk the walk since 2008 to now. Everybody who came in and all the people who came in and looked and peeped and then said, nah, this is Islamic and all that stuff. You're a hypocrite, just like Rami Salam El and all these other traders out here who we've been telling you about, that's going to tell you BS about your birthright. And then they try to pay blanket Moors with fictitious, fraudulent, colorable statements. Like Moors are sovereign citizens. No, they're not. No one is a sovereign citizen, not even a European. Because a sovereign citizen is an oxymoron. You can't be a sovereign and a citizen at the same time. That's a fraud. Moors been known that. But you don't want to hear what Moors are saying. You want to go with people who talk the talk. All the talker people. The people who have never been a real Moor, but they're talking about Moors. You know what a real Moor is? A real Moor is going to go camping. And when they go camping, they're going to take the pot, they're going to take the pan, they're going to take the lighter and the matches and the wood and the axe and the rope, and they're going to take the guns, they're going to take the bullets, they're going to take 5,000 rounds of bullets, because they're going to be up there all weekend shooting at dirt. And they have been going to shoot at dirt for at least a year. How come all of a sudden they get stopped on the highway and they're domestic terrorists? How come they weren't domestic terrorists the other 99 times that they went shooting with long arms? How come they got their door kicked in before this and they weren't under surveillance from back then so that they could catch them going with the guns to go shoot between right now when this happened on the I-95 and 5 months ago? So anyone who's talking negative about Moors because they saw some stuff that the news said on TV about some Moors and guns and domestic terrorists, and then they're going with that narrative, they're a hypocrite. I just wanted to put that on the record for all the sideliner people who they don't want to be Moors, they're just sidelining. But we're only giving honors to the Moors who walk the walk. If you don't walk the walk, you're not a Moor. You're just a nigger with a fez on. You're just a nigger with a turban on. You don't walk the walk. So don't talk about Moors, don't bring up Moors. And then again, when they shut this down for bullying, that should let you know something. Because again, we don't have to be here. Like we tell you every time, we're coming from behind the veil. We're doing our own thing as Moors. We could care less about what's going on in the world, because Moors are on a different plane of existence, even in the physical. So we're just stepping behind the veil. More peeped his head out. He said, hey, you see what's going on over there with these Moors? Peep my head out. Yeah, that's what's going on. Should we say something? Let's say something. 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Let's say something. Even though we've been saying it, we've been saying that we're not sovereign citizens. Rise of the Moors was live saying they're not sovereign citizens. And then the news is pushing this thing, oh yeah, these sovereign citizens, Moorish sovereign citizens and whatever, and you're going with that? How you go, hold on a second, you tell me that's not hypocrisy? If you tell me that's not hypocrisy, then you're a hypocrite. People going camping and you idiots are listening to the news tell you that they're domestic terrorists. You're riding with the narrative of the colonizer who you're marching and picketing that's violating you. Isn't that hypocrisy? Somebody tell me that's not hypocrisy so we could call you a hypocrite too. Forget what they're charged with. Who's bringing charges? A Moor? Who's bringing charges against them? It's not even a who, it's a what that's bringing charges against them. How is a what charging a who? How is a chair charging you for going on the highway with guns? Tell me how. You tell me how a table is pulling up on you on the highway. You're on the highway. You're going camping. You stop on the highway to put gas in the car. A table comes up. Sirens going or whatever like that. Table gets out the car. The table tells you, hey, what's wrong here? No, yeah, we're just here, filling up because we're just heading over to our private property over there. Oh, you got a license and stuff like that? License? But you're a table. Why am I giving you a license? Yeah, well, the law of, the state of tabledom says that section 533, if you pass here and then you have guns, you have to put it in the lockbox, in the trunk, and this whatever. Excuse me, you're a table. And then all the table backup is there. So think about a table. Okay, think about every table that you ever saw in your life. Think about every table that you ever saw in your life. And all of them are on the news, right? Because the table people have to have a news channel. So now, the table news channel, because, there's a table CEO of some news, whatever, right? So they're airing on table television that some tables stopped some Moors on the highway. And the tables are bringing them to court and pressing charges against them because they violated some table laws of section 555 of the table code. And you're going with that as the reality. How's a table charging a Moor? A what can't charge a who? Why do you think they keep bringing up Jamal Latimer? Because Jamal Latimer is the what that they have interactions with. That's the what that went to the army, that filed a paper to go shoot innocent people. Whether he went or not, doesn't matter. That's what he signed up for. He signed up to use long arms and stuff like that, to go shoot other people in other countries and all that stuff. And then, now that he doesn't work for them anymore, now he's a sovereign citizen? How come he wasn't a sovereign citizen when he was a Marine with long arms? Driving up and down with them. And anybody else who was involved that was at the stop. And then they're trying to paint this narrative like these young men were caught up in the cult of the Moors, and the Moorish cult is run by this guy right here, and he's the head of the Moorish cult, and they're Moorish sovereign citizens. And the SPLC said, you need to look up SPLC to see what the hell that is. You're just going with the narrative that these people are putting out against your brother, that you're claiming unity and buy my soap and buy my crystals and buy my whatever because the unity of our people. But then your brother gets into some every type of warfare except physical on the highway on a long weekend, and in your mind you're not thinking, hold on a second, how come they didn't shoot them down yet? They got guns on the highway. How come it wasn't a bloodbath? Remember all the stuff you guys, Black Lives Matter, chanting and picketing and all that stuff? Remember all that stuff? Remember that, right? Remember when people died in the street and stuff like that because police killed them? Remember? Remember complaining? Marching up and down the place and all that stuff? Okay, your marching worked. So Moors went on the highway. Thanks for marching. So Moors were able to go on the highway with long arms because they were going camping, so they had pots as well. They had blankets. Right? Like they had things for camping. They didn't have, bottles of different chemicals because they're going to go build some bombs in the woods. They're going camping. Never forget that. They were going camping. Never forget, never let that leave your mind that these people were going camping. What is the issue with going camping? Well, because the guns are... Why are you even bringing up guns for? Why is that? Why aren't you bringing up shovels? They had shovels in there. They can be using shovels. For what? To dig the bodies. But nah. You're not going there. So we're being long-winded about this so you can see the fraud before we even start talking about papers and talking about court sessions and talking about all this stuff. It's a fraud from its inception. It's fraud from its inception. Why is it fraud? Because it's diversity of citizenship. Because where they were was not United States. Where they were was the Moroccan Empire. And they're Moors, so they're free to traverse their Moroccan Empire. Why would you infringe on their right to go where they're going? Where they've been going for the past year with no stops and no issues. We're not even talking about court and what you're seeing on TV after they went live and they shut it off. We're not talking about anything after their life got shut off. Why? That's not our narrative. Our narrative was them out there. The hell you talking about? You're not riding with that. They're Moors. I talk to Moorish Science Temple of America heads personally because I'm a Moorish Science Temple of America head. And certain Moorish Science Temples of America recognize that. Because we paid our dues. We're still out here as Moors 10 years later, after all these people who claimed that they were the Moorish or whatever like that fell off. We paid our dues to be here. And then we have all the Moors around the world to back the fact that, yeah, if I'm going to go join the Moorish Science Temple of America, it's probably going to be Cujo's. I ain't joining anybody else's because everybody else is a fraud out here. So the people who are the legitimate, the people who are the Moorish Science Temple of America that everybody's supposed to be part of if they're claiming Moorish Science Temple of America, forget the division and the Kirkman Bay and the Givens L and the Love and the whatever L and Bay and people making up stuff. Everybody under Noble Drew Ali should be Grand Major Temple number 1. Supreme Grand Chief Kenny Umar Bey. I don't care what type of issues you had with him and if he did whatever. I don't care. You want unity? There it is right there. Now, if you're not going to go and rep for it, because they called us personally Like, they called me. I didn't call them. They called me to say the foundation of Noble Drew Ali, the foundation of Noble Drew Ali is 100% on board with what Rise of the Moors was doing. We know they are not sovereign citizens. We know that they are not anti-government. We know that they are about uplifting their people. We know that. This is Grand Major Temple I'm talking about. If anybody who is in the Moorish paradigm and has studied Noble Drew Ali from his inception to 2021, you know where the authority lies. I don't care what people's opinion is about whatever. We know where the authority lies and who it lies with. Right now, in the seat is Kenny Umar Bey. So, whatever people's feelings are, that's up to them. But I know, regardless of what, when I dealt with Kenny Umar Bey, that was the Moor every Moor should have been like in 2008. If every Moor was Kenny Umar Bey in 2008, we wouldn't even be talking about Moors on the highway and long guns and whatever. It'll be our highway. And I was there in 2008 when Kenny Umar Bey was in the Moor Science Temple that left Grand Major Temple because fraud was happening there. And I don't have nothing but honor and love for Kenny Umar Bey. And we still, as far as the Moors who are the foundation that set up Moorish whatever here, one of the top 5 Moors, not putting Noble Drew Ali in, but one of the top 5 Moors that you never heard about or never took serious or just thought whatever is Kenny Umar Bey. I don't care what your opinion is. I'm telling you what it is. Because I was there in 08 and those Moors had fleets of Moorish cars with Moorish tags. They had Moorish businesses. Moors were going into stores and walking out with bags of stuff for free because people knew in Chicago what was up. It wasn't a secret in Chicago. Like, it wasn't a secret in Chicago. It was real. It wasn't some stuff there. 2008, Chicago, they're not talking about Moors riding around with their own tags or sovereign citizens. How come? How come they're not saying those Moors are sovereign citizens? They had their own tags. They knew Moors that were in the military and all that stuff. And the Moors who were in the military that were Moorish Americans, they had their pieces and all that stuff. Wherever they went, somebody had something on them. This is Moorish Science Temple we're talking about. 2008. Why? Because we're a government, so we better have security. Why wouldn't you have security if you're a government? Why would you have hospitals and you have all this other stuff, but you don't have security? What kind of dumb government are you trying to put up? And remember, this is 2008. And no one was calling them sovereign citizens. No one was thinking they're anti-government. They were getting honors in Chicago. They were getting honors to the point, and I'm talking about from experience. Me, a Negro, black, colored, African, whatever, Trinidadian, Tobagonian, whatever guy, going to Chicago to see what this Moorish stuff is about. They talk about this Moorish stuff. And they wear these funny hats and this is not real. Let me go see if this is real. This is some BS. And they have fleets of cars with their own tags. You go to the temple and then you could actually go in the back and shower and have a sleep, have a nap and all that stuff. You have your own room at the temple. You get to the temple and people carrying your bags and stuff like that. When you talk about organized, it was already done. Juali did it all. Juali did it all. And for traitors to step up now and try to smear Noble Juali's name and all the work that Moors put in, you're a hypocrite. And you're a sellout. Because no one can say to me that the Moorish paradigm isn't where it's supposed. I've seen this with my own eyes being exercised. Imagine you have a court date and you go to court and the door is closed. Think about this. Think about this. Whatever city you live in, wherever, right? One day you go to court and the door is closed. Everybody's outside, just waiting. Time's passed that the place is supposed to be open. Court's closed. You call up the court. The court's telling you that the court's closed today. Everybody's cases today are dismissed. Everybody's case is dismissed for that day. And then when you talk to Moors who went and got their bar card and stuff like that, and so they work at the court, they're coming back to the Moors. This is 2008. They're coming back to the Moors, that they're Moors in the Moorish Science Temple or whatever, and they're telling Moors that they shut the court down because the Moors had court that day, and they know that when the Moors show up to court, whether it's 1 or whether it's 50, the stuff is dismissed. There's no questions asked. Walk in, talk to the prosecutor. Yo, this is the situation by, oh yeah, Moorish American, no problem. Your Honor, we're going to dismiss Mr. Bay's charges, Mr. L stuff, and thank you very much, have a great day. 08. That's how they had it running, with no Moorish consulate, no guys with badges trying to pretend like they're whatever. No, none of that. No package selling people. No play you to think something people. No, they're just Moors who were active. They were walking the walk. They were being. They weren't finding out about or trying to be or paying to. They were being. And what were they being? Themselves. Just like Noble Juali told them, which is why Rise of the Moors was on the highway. Because they're being themselves. They're ex-military. What the hell are they going to do? Why wouldn't they? What job they going to go get right now? What job you going to give them? Treat veterans like BS. And he's veteran. Deployed or not, he's veteran. So are they dragging this veteran through the mud and stuff like that, and you're not looking at this like, hold on a second. He's a veteran. You're not supposed to be doing that to people who went out and did stuff for you. Your own employees. But people don't look at it like that. People look at it like the narrative that was presented to them by the same people who they're claiming are abusing them. Isn't that Stockholm Syndrome? That's Stockholm Syndrome, right? So a lot of you people have Stockholm syndrome. So we're not talking to you. We're talking to the people who have common sense. And the people who are using their reasoning mind. The zombies, we don't care what the zombies do. They just walk around, bump into stuff, and stab them in the head or whatever. They're not even concerned. Not concerned with the zombies. We're looking to the thinking people, whether you're Kemetic, Hebrew, whatever, black, NOI, whatever. You obviously know something's wrong here. If you think something's wrong here, it's time for you to gravitate to the Moorish paradigm, because you reached the end of your road on your journey. This is the next step up. Once you get over this cliff right here, when you get up, when you finally say, and then you reach the top and you look, trust me, because we're way past, we're on the other ridge. You're way behind. Just letting you know that it's real. Moors were on CNN. Why? Think about it. Moors on CNN? And you're not looking at this thing like, what the hell is going on? Let me go find out about this Moorish thing, because this is crazy. And then they go, drilling in the truth again. There they go, drilling in the truth again. So don't fall for these people's games. Don't fall for it. You better not fall for it. Like, do not fall for these people's games. Those Moors were going camping, and they trumped up all this stuff on them, and then now there's people who are supposed to be in support of them using their connection because of birthrights to smear and make it look as if these Moors were wrong, they're terrorists. How are they terrorists going camping? Since when? Since when are campers terrorists? But we can't convince you. You have to convince yourself. Because we already know what's up. We're not concerned like that. Because we know how these people do. No different than stuff that they did to every other quote-unquote black leader. What they do to Martin? How much time does he go to prison? Al-Hajj went to prison. Muhammad Ali went to prison. How much jazz musicians and all that went to prison because they're singing songs? Negroes not supposed to sing, so they go to prison. They've been doing this. You're still falling for the game? You're so docile? You're so docile, they got you like that. They got you like that. And still getting you. Because we're telling you that they're a fraud. Right? This is what they do. But why do they do this? Because of the energy they're getting from the traders that we never deal with. You think they're living off your virtues mean? Because all the good that you're doing is going to the traders because you like to give them honors. And then the enemy is sucking those good deeds from the traders and using it against you. Now you're stuck. Because you keep going with the European psychology. You keep going with their narrative. That's why you lose. You're not using your own mind. If you're using your own mind, you would be in an uproar. You would be in an uproar. One, because nobody got shot up on the highway and all that stuff. The stuff ended peacefully, as if it didn't start peacefully. Right? Why wouldn't it end peacefully? Why wouldn't anybody get shot up? Because it wasn't a situation for anybody to get shot up. It was not. We're going camping. What the hell's the problem? What's the issue with going camping? Anybody looking at it from any other perspective, they're zombified. You know what you're talking about. They're going camping. They're going camping, and some tables came up to them saying they're going to press charges on them. That they did this and they did that and they did that, and then you're sitting in table court and the judge is a table and the prosecutor is a table, and then the lawyer that they're trying to put on them is a table, and you're in the court and you're watching, and your mindset is, these guys, they shouldn't have been out there with guns, and they shouldn't have. So you're telling me Santa Claus left the stuff for the children? That's what you're telling me? You're telling me you didn't eat the cookies, Santa Claus ate them? That's what you're saying? You're saying that it was the tooth fairy that came and left the change under the pillow? That's what you're telling me right now? You're telling me Tinkerbell and Peter Pan and Captain Hook and all that stuff? That's what you're telling me is a reality? How's that a reality? Are you really thinking, or are you zombified for real? Are you docile? That's why we just stick our head out the veil, because we already, you know what I mean? Like, this is an unfortunate event because some Moors were going camping and the people not using their common sense. Just like stuff with vaccine, like I'm saying. I just seen somebody that was telling me when they had it. And that, yeah, it's real. There's something out there, but it's like, it has to be a created thing, because I've never felt sick like that before. Like, it didn't feel normal. It was like my body was going through something when I had that. You know, like, I'm good now, you know what I mean? Whatever, I got through whatever it was, but, you know, 3 weeks in the hospital and whatever. And he went in there, and he's still saying he's not taking the vaccine. And they let him. And he had it. So if he had it, and they're telling him he doesn't, he's like, no, I don't need the vaccine. I'm clear. I cured myself of it. What did he do? Well, immediately I cut out everything that I was eating, threw out everything, and fruits and veggies juicing. Every day, all day. Wife bringing me the juices every day. Juices every day. I don't even know what's in it. I'm just that's all I'm intaking. Came out the other side. Saw death and all that stuff. Came out the other side of COVID. Like, yeah, that's not, I don't know if that's a real thing. I don't know what there, I know something's out there, but I know it's not some, you sneezed on somebody and they got it. It's something, it's not that. There's no way. I never had that ever in my life. And I'm out the other side. I'm still a little wobbly. It's been 6-7 months that I've been out. I'm still wobbly. Because there's something going on with that. That's not organic. You know? And he's saying he's not taking the vaccine because he went through that. He's like, if I went through that, not with the stuff, then forget this. You're not going to guinea pig me. I wear my mask though, you know what I mean? You know, I get it. I've quarantined for, you know, triple the time. So I know I'm good. But I went through it, and it's real. It's a real thing. But it wasn't from some sneezing on me or something like that. You know what I mean? It's an op. Psychological warfare. Forget what you see. It's about what they're imprinting in your mind. And what they want to imprint in your mind is that some people going camping are terrorists. That they didn't even find a manifesto or anything like that saying that they're going out there. They didn't check their website and see that they were talking about, oh, well, we're going out there. No, their website's talking about we're not sovereign citizens. Moors are not sovereign citizens. RiseUpTheMoors.org. Go check. It says it right there. We are not sovereign citizens. And the site's been up before these people started doing their BS with trying to make them sovereign citizens. And then Moors, remember, don't forget, always remember the traitor. When you're talking about white supremacy and all that stuff, always remember the only reason that there's white supremacy is because some traitor gave up their white status. And now they're using it against you. That might be too much for some of you, but it's all right. It's going to hit you eventually.
The definition of hypocrisy: the practice of claiming to have moral standards or beliefs to which one's own behavior does not conform. So basically it means talking the talk, but not walking the walk. So by this definition, Rami Salamel is a hypocrite.
Peace, 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 peace. I'm Rami Salamel. I thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. The new Moors that are watching this right now, people that are just coming into this Moorish information, please listen closely. Don't believe what I say. I encourage you to look up everything that you see, everything that you hear, and most importantly, judge everything based off of what Noble Drew Ali said. Why? Because he is a prophet. I'm not claiming to be a prophet. I'm not the leader or the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Noble Drew Ali. We're supposed to be following his lead, and we gotta stick to that principle. And also understand as we go through this is about principle. For Moors that have been aware about this information, I encourage you to listen to what I'm saying. Don't believe what I'm saying. Hold me accountable. If I said something that was incorrect, please inform me. Let me know where I was mistaken, if I made an error in any place.
Isn't it fascinating how he speaks in this soft voice and with gentle hand gestures to try and make you think he is being sincere? Then he throws in a, "Don't believe what I say, go research it for yourself." The catchphrase that we all use, hoping to give what we are saying some credibility. The difference is, some people use that catchphrase knowing that some of our people are lazy and won't research the info and take what they say at face value, while others that use that catchphrase actually really want you to research what is being said. Rami, on the other hand, is actually manipulating that catchphrase by adding a twist to it. He is hoping that you do go and research what he said, because if you do, you will find what he mentioned. The twist comes where he knows you won't research further than what he said to see where his hypocrisy lies. He is hoping you think the Moor with a soft voice and gentle hand gestures seems so kind, he has to be sincere and completely honest. Rami is also constantly encouraging the listener to judge everything that he says based on what Prophet Noble Drew Ali says. This is a twist on the catchphrase that a lot of these same Moors use. We are bringing what Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought. Once again with a soft voice and gentle hand gestures, and hoping that Moors that are less studied think he is telling the truth and being sincere. And then he proceeds to read from Prophet Noble Drew Ali's warning to the nation.
But to answer the question, why does Rami care so much? Why is he making this video? Why is he talking about what Cujo do? Why does he care so much about what Cujo is saying and doing? Let me explain. This is what Noble Drew Ali said. The Prophet warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. I'm gonna get to that later. It says a little further down.
Once again, reading in a soft voice and with gentle hand gestures. And when he reads the part stating, "We are for peace and not destruction," he pauses and looks into the camera for dramatic effect. All this is to manipulate the viewer into thinking he is honorable.
We are for peace and not destruction.
But what he fails to realize is, with Moors that actually study, We don't have to go that deep into Noble Drew Ali's literature to see Rami's clear violation and hypocrisy. It is very simple. All we have to do is use something that pretty much every Moor should have in their possession. The divine constitution of Moorish America. Let's work backwards and start with Act 5 of the Divine Constitution of Moorish America. Act 5 reads, "No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby." The question that Moors ask about Act 5 is, which said government, laws, and constitution is the Prophet speaking about? The thing is, if the Prophet told us to enforce the Constitution, and a Constitution is the supreme law of the land in every country on the planet, then we are to enforce the Constitution of the said government in any land that we domicile, including our own divine Constitution of Moorish America. And this is why we are not to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. This is universal. So let's go to the Constitution of the United States of America and read the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment reads, "A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." This is what Rami won't tell you. He won't tell you that Rise of the Moors is not breaking any laws. He won't tell you that Rise of the Moors is not going against the divine constitution of Moorish America. He won't tell you that Rise of the Moors is not going against the Constitution of the United States of America. What Rami is hoping is that his soft voice and gentle hand gestures will manipulate you into thinking he is correct in what he is saying about Rise of the Moors, all while saying,
We have to be true. I can't be hypocritical.
so Rise of the Moors is not breaking any constitutional laws of the United States of America, nor any constitutional laws of the divine constitution of Moorish America. And, so far, neither is Rami. Now let's move up to Act 4 of the Divine Constitution of Moorish America. Act 4 reads, "All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government, and must live the life accordingly." This is where Rami's hypocrisy is apparent, because this is where his second violation appears. Now, of course, Rami violating Act 4 may not be obviously clear to many. So for that clarity, let's go to Act 3 of the Divine Constitution of Moorish America. Act 3 reads, "Love, truth, peace, freedom and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love." Once again, no citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Rami put out a video claiming that Rise of the Moors are domestic terrorists. Let me repeat that again. Rami put out a video claiming that Rise of the Moors are domestic terrorists. That is the absolute height of falsely accusing his brother or sister and putting them in a dangerous, life-threatening position. The absolute height. All while trying to manipulate the viewer into thinking he is correct, because he is talking in a soft voice and with gentle hand gestures. This is absolutely disgusting. Rami is not only falsely accusing Rise of the Moors with his insinuation, but also putting Rise of the Moors, their family and children in harm's way. Just think about this for a moment. What does the United States government do with so-called domestic terrorists? Here, let's let Rami tell you.
Because this is not a game. And for those watching that may not understand why I'm coming at it like this, let me break it down. The U.S. government, particularly the FBI, is calling people in the sovereign citizens domestic terrorists. They are calling people in the sovereign citizen movement, people that call themselves sovereign citizens or promote sovereignty or even try to use that kind of logic,
There's the countdown. We'll just get back in. Just get back in here.